to Stanton.
Breaking ball, fly ball, left field deep. This game is over. Grand slam. Walk 'em off. Miami wins it. How about an exclamation point on that?
I could have one of the best, if not the best, season I've ever seen a guy have to be able to watch him consistently day in and day out. From the information that I have, it looks like it's all stuff that's going to heal up. And, you know, he's going to be fine. I wish we had more time in the season that he doesn't, you know, if this is the end of his season, that he doesn't have to go out like that he could get in there and play a few more games.
After a gut-wrenching night in Milwaukee last night, the Marlins move on to Philadelphia. A 3-game series against the Phillies, Citizens Bank Park. Can the Fish put all that behind them? Can they find their balance and get rolling again? Henderson, Alvarez, Cole Hamels, the matchup. The Marlins and the Phillies, Game 1, 3-game series. Hi, everybody. Rich Wolfslon with Tommy Hutton. Everybody has seen the images, saw the emotion of last night. Tommy, the emotion tonight. The Marlins know that Giancarlo Stanton is going to be okay. Now they look at the Phillies. How do they make that jump from last night to tonight?
First of all, Rich, I think it's good that a lot of the players have touched base with Giancarlo through texts, and they know that he's doing well, and they know that he's probably going to be watching this one tonight. Baseball players are wired a little differently than a lot of people. They tend to forget things and put things aside because you have to during a 162-game schedule. They're going to have to do that tonight, and they're going to have to do it without Big G.
Latest medical update, he was discharged from the hospital in Milwaukee at noon, has arrived in Miami. Multiple fractures in the face. They're non-displaced, so that no reconstructive surgery on the bones. Dental damage, he'll have that surgery in the next couple of days. Lots of stitches and lots of plastic surgery on the face last night. Now he's back in Miami. Marlin doctors will look at him as well. Stanton not only tweeting with his teammates, texting with his teammates, sent out this tweet. All the support that the fans have given and his teammates has meant a lot.
Well, look at that. I'm much better today. Deeply appreciate your prayers. And the big news, he had a great meal on the charter flight going home. Private jet was supplied to him by Jeffrey Loria, and Stanton ate and ate and ate, and that was good news.
Pitching matchup in this one. Henderson Alvarez going for the Fish and Cole Hamels for the Phillies.
You know, Henderson Alvarez hasn't started since September 1st, but he has good numbers in his career against the Phillies. Cole Hamels against the Marlins, 9-13. However, a 192 earned run average since June 1st. Hamels has been throwing the ball well.
That's your pitching matchup. It's the Marlins and it's the Phillies. The Marlins are without Giancarlo Stanton, but you know what? I'll bet you he's watching, and I'll bet you everybody knows it. It's Phillies, it's Marlins, and we got first pitch coming up. Brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places by AT&T Uverse TV. Find out what's possible with AT&T. Call 1-800-PICK AT&T. Mobilizing your world. By Checkers. Checkers brings big flavor for a small price. Beat your craving for quality for only $1. Cha-ching. How about your South Florida Honda dealers and sfhondadealers.com. Citizens Bank Park in Philly. Been a down year for the Phils, but they've got their ace on the mound in Cole Hamels. And the Marlins lineup against Hamels looks this way. It's brought to you by JM Lexus. Christian Yelich in the leadoff spot. Donovan Solano at second base. Casey McGee moves into that 3 spot vacated by Giancarlo Stanton. Marcell Ozuna slides up to the cleanup spot, and that's exactly what he's been doing lately. Homers in 4 straight games. Jeff Baker against the lefties at first. Jared Saltalamacchia up to 6th. Ed Lucas has good numbers against Hamels, and he gets the start in right field. Adeiny Echeverria is hot. He's at short. Henderson Alvarez in the 9th spot for Miami. And Hamels has had, statistically, in terms of ERA and all that, a terrific year for a Philly team that has really struggled this year. And
certainly, Rich, no stranger is Cole Hamels to the Miami Marlins. So many starts, 32 career starts against the Marlins, a 9-13 record, but a good ERA at 3.26. But here's what Hamels has done. Talked about his ERA, 1.92 since June 1st. The other thing he has going, he's had 19 consecutive starts where he's allowed 3 earned runs or less.
So the night after for Miami, the night after Milwaukee, comes here in Philly. Pinch-A-Penny brings you the first pitch. Yelich stands in, and Hamels delivers a fastball that runs away. And the count is 1-0. For Yelich, his hit streak snapped last night at 13 games. He was 0 for 4. And he fouls it back to the screen.
Well, one thing we've seen over the years from Cole Hamels, he doesn't take too much time. He gets the ball, he delivers it quickly to the plate, and he's delivered a lot of pitches to Chooch, who's back there, Carlos Ruiz.
Here's the 1-1 pitch. And it's fouled at the plate. Yes, I mean, the Phillies are an interesting case study, I guess, at 67 and 79. A group and a team that has gotten old. And the Phillies have been unable to make a lot of adjustments on the fly, but they still have guys that can play. They still have people like Hamels and Ruiz and Utley and Howard. Jimmy Rollins not out there, but still there's a lot of talent on the field. Bird, Revere, Brown in the outfield. 1-2 to Yelich. And he got him. Changed speeds and struck him out.
Take a look at that defense tonight for the Philadelphia Phillies. Dominic Brown, Ben Revere, Marlon Byrd in the outfield. Cody Ashley, Freddie Galvis. He's in there for Jimmy Rollins, who's got a tight hamstring. Chase Utley and Ryan Howard. No strangers over on the right side. And Carlos Ruiz behind the plate.
Here's Donovan Solano now. And Hamels misses down low to Solano. 6 hits in 19 at-bats against Hamels. And Tommy has touched upon the Marlins and Hamels have a really intriguing history. 3 starts this year. The Marlins have put a loss on him and have scored runs against him. A 4.26 ERA. This is his 33rd start career against the Marlins. He's 9-13. But look at the ERA. It's pretty good, 3.26. How do you explain that?
Well, you know, a lot of it is just one of those things that's gotten in his head, I'm sure, a little bit. And if you look at the track record, there are a number of Marlins players who've had good numbers against Cole Hamels. One of the reasons Ed Lucas is in there tonight, 5 for 14 against Hamels.
Solano takes in on a fastball. McGee is in the 3 spot. Casey ejected last night. His anger was not at Mike Fiers. His anger last night was directed at the umpires. Solano a chopper out towards short. Galvis loads up and just barely gets Solano. And so there are 2 outs. I think a lot of people around the country saw highlights and saw an enraged Casey McGee, but the way the highlights were edited, it looked like he was upset at Mike Fiers. And while he may have been, McGee was ejected for going after the umpires for calling 2 swings.
And those 2 motions right there are what started the emotions of the Marlins on the bench.
But here's McGee. I mean, McGee was going after the umpire, and in particular Jeff Kellogg, the home plate umpire, DJ Rayburn, and Dan Bellino, the third base umpire, was the one that came in and ejected McGee. See, that's the juxtaposition of many of the highlights. People felt McGee was going after Fiers. He was enraged that those were both called swinging strikes. Here's the 1-0 pitch to McGee. And a swing and a miss.
When Hamels has the off-speed stuff, he sets things up, he moves his fastball in and out, but a tremendous changeup and curveball. He has that changeup that he'll triple up on at times, 3 in a row.
Well, right now he looks like he's on tonight. Striking out Yelich, changing speeds on Solano, and out in front of McGee. Hamels runs it in, and the count's 2-2.
And it's not like he's a junk balling left-hander. You've seen his last 2 fastballs have been 94, and that's another reason the changeup and the curveball are so effective.
McGee sends it to right. Bird goes back and makes the catch. A 1-2-3 inning for Cole Hamels. Henderson Alvarez returns to the mound next. We're underway and scoreless in Philly. The slider in this pose.
Nasty back foot slider, yeah.
Scoreless ballgame, Marlins and Phillies. And here come the Phillies at 67 and 79. Jam Lexus brings you their starting lineup. Ben Revere in the leadoff spot. Cody Ashes at third. Chase Utley against the Marlins in this ballpark. 19 homers, 74 driven in. Ryan Howard, Marlon Byrd, Dominic Brown, Carlos Ruiz with Freddie Galvis at short, and Cole Hamels hitting ninth.
And it is great to see Henderson Alvarez back on the mound. We talked about his last start September 1st against the Mets, just 2 1/3 innings. Remember, he had to leave that ball game with the injury. Nothing serious.
Good career numbers here. His traditional old-fashioned windup to start the game. Ben Revere waits and takes a fastball for strike one.
One of the things we noticed, Rich, in that outing against the Mets with the little soreness in his side, we noticed velocity down on his fastball. So a couple of pretty good fastballs to begin this one.
Revere in the leadoff spot is not a guy that walks a lot, but he's hitting .308, which pushes his on-base percentage up to .326. He's walked just a dozen times this year, and if he gets on, he'll run. 43 stolen bases.
Not only has he walked just 12 times this year, he's walked only twice since the All-Star break.
But he has 2 home runs, which is significant. His first 2 in the big leagues. 2-2. Pulls it foul, wide of first. That's Alan Porter down there at first with Sean Barber and Marty Foster on the bases, and Country Joe West at home plate calling balls and strikes. This quartet will work this 3-game series, and the Marlins will move on to New York. Alvarez with the count 2-2. The Phillies lost yesterday to the Pirates by a score of 4-1. Alvarez trying that changeup. It does come in at 90 miles an hour. So far, velocity looks a lot higher than the outing in which he had the oblique injury, which is a good sign. He's 3-2 on Revere. To left, Yelich on the run, and he's there, and he makes the catch. Good range by Yelich out in left.
Good range, good jump, good concentration. You throw that all in. Here's the rest of the defense for the Marlins tonight. Yelich, Ozuna, and Lucas getting the start in right field. It's his second start in right field this year. Casey McGee, Echeverria, Donovan Solano, Jeff Baker with the lefty on the mound. He's at first. And Salty behind the plate.
Young third baseman Cody Ashe now. Ashe getting a chance to play on an everyday basis. Phillies are hopeful that he can blossom into an everyday third baseman. He's just 24, out of St. Charles, Missouri. It's Jacob Turner's hometown. Ashe lifts it, fouling out of play. University of Nebraska. Just 3 years in the minor leagues before arriving here in the big leagues. Hits it hard and into the corner, and on a hop, it's off the wall. Lucas picks it up, and Ashe's got himself a double.
Well, the fastball was 95. It was in a good zone for Cody Ashe. Let's see. Pretty much at middle of the plate, and Cody Ashe put a good swing. Chased down in that corner by Ed Lucas.
Hits it hard and into the corner, and on a hop, it's off the wall. Lucas picks it up, and Ashe comes. Who was that knucklehead calling that?
That was a good call, though. That was a good call.
Utley now. Well, if you're a Marlin fan, you know that Chase Utley in his career has had a lot of big hits against the Marlins, and as you saw in this ballpark especially, this year he's over 300 against the Fish, a couple of home runs and 10 RBIs in 13 games. With runners in scoring position, lately he's been really good, over 400 in his last 46 at bats. And Alvarez misses away.
Because over the last few years, because of various injuries, Chase Utley hasn't played a lot of games. Last year he was in 130. So his average has tailed off a little bit since the All-Star break.
He's trying to catch the corner with that changeup, and he missed there. He didn't miss by much, but he did miss. Randi Institute bringing you Fox Tracks. There's Ashe. Of course, you got another big bat on deck in Ryan Howard, and Marlon Byrd after him. And there's Howard.
You know, it's interesting all the time to look at routines of hitters. If you notice, Utley, after every pitch, steps out. Doesn't step out for a long time, but steps out, takes that one cut, and then steps back in.
It's not quite Hunter Pence-like in its uniqueness, but it is to Utley almost a signature move. Tough hop. Echeverria gets it and gets the ball to Baker in time. That one hitting right in front of second base and took a kick up. Etch got it. And now Alvarez has to get Ryan Howard to get out of the inning.
You know, Etch got it because he was ready for it. This ball had some pretty good topspin, hitting on the dirt in front of the plate. There's that high hop, but Echeverria always ready for that bad hop and made it look easy.
Etch made a couple errors in Milwaukee, a couple of careless errors. He's at 14 right now. And you see him shifting over. The shift for Ryan Howard.
If you were to go back, Rich, and let's just say shortstops, they would all tell you, whatever their total is for errors, that probably 4 or 5, maybe more, were careless.
Routine plays.
Routine plays, lack of concentration.
Howard sends it up and out. It's a terrific sunset here in Philly with orange and white and blue tinged. We can see the Philly skyline right now as the sun goes down. Very comfortable night here at a great ballpark, Citizens Bank Park. 0-2. Alvarez misses in. Howard, of course, the leg injury, the Achilles injury, robbing him of a lot of lower body strength. Still this year, he's driven in 92. He's got 16 doubles, 21 homers. On this homestand, he's struggling. He's 1 for 12 with Ashe at third base. And he won't bite on the breaking ball.
So far, between Chase Utley and Ryan Howard, and you're talking about a couple of veteran hitters, they've laid off some pretty good changeups by Henderson Alvarez. They've not swung at the pitch.
'21st pitch of the inning. He has not been able to throw that changeup for a strike yet, and that's imperative tonight against the Phillies because they've got a lot of lefty bats, 4 of them, before Marlon Byrd arrives. And with Brown and the switch hitter Galvis, you can add 2 more in the lineup. He threw it again, and he got him to swing. And Saltalamacchia digs it out, tags him out. And the inning is over. Alvarez is back. This ball game heads to the second scoreless. high definition. Even Rocky Balboa running up those steps would be in high definition. Brought to you by H.H. Gray. In Philly, as night falls, the Marlins and the Phils scoreless. The hottest hitter the Marlins have right now, Marcell Ozuna, climbs in. He has homered in 4 consecutive games. And he's had success with long balls against Hamels. Ozuna just 4 for 18 against Hamels, but 3 have been home runs. He sits at 23. Homered last night to right field. And he takes away. It's 1-1.
That was the impressive run that Marcell Ozuna has been on. The home runs that he hit in Milwaukee, 1 to left, the gigantic blast to center, and then 2 to right field.
Hamels with the count 2-1. So in this lineup without Giancarlo, McGee hits 3rd, Ozuna 4th, Baker 5th. And you said before the ball game that if the Marlins are going to move on, at least temporarily, and win ball games, they need contributions from everybody up and down the lineup. A liner to center field. That's a base hit, and Ozuna is aboard, and here comes Jeff Baker.
And Ozuna just continues to stay hot, stay back, and have solid at-bats and swings. 8-game hitting streak now for Marcell.
What's your scouting report on Cole Hamels?
Well, you know, we've gone over this a number of times over the years. Very easy and fluid delivery. The changeup and that 12-6 curve. Hard to imagine. We've talked about it. 9-13 in his career against the Marlins. Tell you what, though, he's 8-14 against the Mets.
Well, he's beating somebody because he's had a terrific career. And he misses outside to Baker. Baker getting the start against the lefty. Marlins will see 2 right-handers the rest of this series, with Brad Hand going tomorrow night against Kyle Kendrick. And then Sunday, a Tom Kohler, David Buchanan matchup.
Well, you're right about Hamels, Rich. He's 15-8 against the Nationals and a 2.63 ERA. He's 16-8 against the Braves.
Well, I mean, there are the career numbers.
Yeah.
He's 107-81. Of course, a NLCS and World Series MVP when the Phillies won that World Championship. And the remnants of that World Championship are still here. And that's a point of some contention, that the ball club is where they are in the standings, and they still have the marquee names left from 5-6 years ago. A swing and a miss.
And by the way, it's been a while since Cole Hamels seen a base hit. Remember, he had a couple of starts ago, I think it was, that he and 3 of his teammates out of the bullpen threw a no-hitter against the Braves.
Strike 3 called. Down goes Baker. So an out here in the second. You can follow the Marlins on social media, on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook, on the Cloud Co9 blog. It's an offbeat look at the Marlins. Go to marlins.com/connect. You get a full roster of Marlin players on Twitter. So Baker strikes out. Here's the switch hitting catcher, Jared Saltalamacchia. He has a couple of home runs against Hamels in 13 at bats.
I think the other thing we might see, and maybe not tonight, Hamels a lefty, a pretty good move to first, but with the absence of Giancarlo, you may see, and we've seen it the last week or so, a little more movement, a little more creativity as far as trying to get something going to get some runs.
A check swing, and it's a foul ball. It's 0-2. course, the Phillies have had their share of injuries. A devastating one to Cliff Lee, knocking him out of the rotation. Rollins is on the DL right now. Saltalamacchia up the middle. Galvis a flip. Utley the turn. And the Phillies get 2, and the Marlins are done in the second. Scoreless ball game here in Philly.
Hi, Rich. Thank you very much. Casey McGee was very upset with himself on all the emotions that were raging last night. He really felt like the last thing he wanted to do was get thrown out of the ball game, and he also thought his language was contained enough to be given a break here. He was not arguing with Mike Fiers. In fact, he wasn't even arguing with too much with DJ Rayburn. It was directed at the first base ump, indeed, but Rayburn had sort of turned aside and did not respond to what you just saw. It was the third base ump, Dan Bellino, came in almost out of nowhere, that ejected McGee, and that was an additional thing to upset McGee because he didn't say anything to Bellino. Let Rayburn handle his own business, basically. But McGee said, look, I said a couple of things, but in the heat of this, I didn't say anything that you would think would normally get you thrown out. And that's what he was upset about. Now, you also saw Christian Yelich in that tape was the strong man. He said, I had to put like a chokehold around McGee. So we were talking to Christian today, and he said, hey, I'm stronger than I look. So then I went over to McGee. I said, was he able to, you know, he said, hey, we could settle this right here. I should see the ground ball. But he was able to at least get a cooler head to prevail. Yelich doing a nice job. They had a laugh about it today that he had a strong arm him to pull out the barrel-chested Casey McGee. Guys?
You know, not that you ever want to have a situation like last night happen, but when it happens, just to see a 22-year-old Christian Yelich try to make sure Casey McGee doesn't get into any more trouble, there's a great amount of experience that comes with that.
And Craig and Tommy, for both of you, as Dominic Brown stands in and he rips one into right field, a base hit. Up with the ball is Ed Lucas. So Marlon Byrd, the first out. Brown, a base hit to right, and Carlos Ruiz coming up. As you see McGee being separated from Dan Bellino and then heading down the runway. We talked about Anthony DeSclafani being suspended 3 games. The rest of the story, just in reading, Mike Fiers actually has been fined by Major League Baseball, an undisclosed amount for his actions, which, and I'm reading the story off MLB.com, which contributed to the bench's clearing. And so
that's good that that was acknowledged.
And we said it last night as Ruiz pulls a ground ball
out there. Solano's turn out there. And we'll say it again in about 2 minutes when we return.
To be continued.
Scoreless ball game. Casey McGee starting a 5-4-3 double play. Scoreless ball game. Well, we said it last night, and we'll say it again tonight. Neither of us felt that Mike Fiers intentionally hit Giancarlo Stanton or intentionally threw at Reed Johnson. But those actions right there were the actions that Major League Baseball felt was enough for a fine, as they put it, which contributed to the bench's clearing. It's significant, I think, that Garrett Jones was not suspended or fined coming off the bench. And so onward and upward to the third inning. Ed Lucas arrives. Lucas, Echeverria, and Alvarez. Lucas hits a fly ball, right field line. Bird on the run. He can't get it, and it's fair. And Lucas is on his way to second, and he's in there. Ed Lucas in the lineup in right field. You can't replace Giancarlo Stanton, but Lucas has had terrific success against Cole Hamels.
We talked about it before the game. Ed Lucas now 6 for 15 against the Phillies left-hander. This ball slices away. The veteran Marlon Byrd actually makes a good play to smother it and get it back in a hurry.
As Echeverria steps in, so does the general manager of the Miami Marlins. Dan Jennings is with us. Dan, thanks for stopping by for you. I know the last 24 hours has not been an easy one. Tell us about once Giancarlo was taken to the hospital in Milwaukee, and walk us through the last 24 hours.
Well, you know, Mike Hill, Jeffrey Loria, myself, all during spring training, we tried to create a family atmosphere. And you try to do that by putting the right players inside a clubhouse. And you don't know how that's going to turn out until the season starts. This group of guys, in my 27 years, I don't know that I've ever seen a group grow and come together as a family like these guys have. And we've had a couple of crises this year with Dan Jennings getting hit on the mound, and then certainly last night with Giancarlo. And you know, when you have a crisis, you see how people react, and absolutely tremendous from the support from his teammates, the staff. Red, Jeffrey and David Sampson got on the phone, made phone calls to their contacts in and around Milwaukee to help get doctors there at the hospital to tend to Giancarlo. The Brewers clubhouse people Doug Melvin, their GM, their medical staff, certainly the job that Sean Cunningham and Cozy and Dustin, were able to perform there on the field. And I think when you have situations like that to any player, you find out truly the character of people, and it gave us a great sense of pride to see how everyone acted and reacted.
A little different type crisis, certainly. But early in the year, the Marlins dealt with the loss of Jose Fernandez. And I think we saw the ball club come together after a few days in that situation.
Got to tell you, I walk in the emergency room last night. My telephone rings. The first call I get, Jose Fernandez calling to check on his teammate. So it just tells you what type of person and what type of character Jose and the rest of these guys are. And I think that just absolutely a great source of pride with these kids and what this team has been able to create in the clubhouse, and certainly Mike Redmond, the manager, has been able to instill and keep growing.
1-2 pitch coming to Echeverria, and it's out. I felt, and once I heard you say it last night, the message that Stanton had for his teammates as he was on his way to the hospital was very inspirational as well.
Yeah, when I walked in his room last night in the emergency room, the first thing he says to me is, DJ, I'll be back, and I'll be back soon. And we all think he's got a gold S on his chest anyway. And when he knows that his teammates had his back and that he was proud to be, he was proud of what that represented to him, I think that speaks volumes. And just a classy kid, certainly an unbelievable talent. In all of our eyes, he's definitely the MVP of this league. And you don't, just like in Jose's case, same thing in Giancarlo, you don't replace that guy.
Smart move there by Ed Lucas not to run to third, because that would have been the only play Galvis had. Miami is set up first and second right now.
Worked out well because Galvis was cheating so much. That ball in the hole, Etch got himself an easy infield hit.
Dan, from a general manager's perspective, what happened on the field last night after Giancarlo was hit and what's happened today? Anthony DeSclafani suspended 3 games. Mike Fiers fined for the incident for contributing with his actions to the bench's clearing, as Alvarez takes. How did you view what happened last night and moving forward?
Well, MLB is certainly going to sanction the game. I mean, that's their job. That's what they get paid to do. I think all of our attention and focus was on Giancarlo and his health, and wishing him the best, being there to support him any way that we could. Jeffrey arranged a private jet to fly he and his father and Sean Cunningham back to Miami, and we're gonna provide absolutely the best care and get him on the field, or get him healthy as quick as we possibly can. And right now, all of our thoughts are with that, and that is our primary focus.
You need to put a little more food on that plane, apparently.
That's what we heard.
And that's a great sign, in that Stan is not only eating on the plane, but apparently has arrived in Miami and is eating there as well. And having watched the video and seen the injuries that we saw last night, that's amazing.
It really is. When I walked into that emergency room and I saw that kid, he had the IV hookup, and when I walked in, and it was a mess, and it looked as bad as what it looked while he was lying there at home plate. And you're just thankful that the doctors and everyone was able to come in and take care of him and do it as quickly and as professionally as they did.
You never want certainly anything like that to happen, but it was really special that his dad happened to be in town.
Yeah, Manny Colon, our director of team travel, we were sitting upstairs, and the second it happened, we both took off, and I said to Manny, I said, go get the father, and Manny got him. And it was just, again, when you have a crisis, you see how people act and react, and it speaks volumes about of character, and I think that's just great for us.
Howard will get to the bag. Yelich is out. Solano up with runners second and third. I had this conversation with Brad Penny today, and I was amazed at how calm Giancarlo's father was during the whole ordeal, which I thought speaks volumes for his father and for Giancarlo. And Penny said, well, that's just the way his his son is too. They're both like that.
Absolutely. You know, I didn't know what to expect when I walked in the emergency room, and honestly, Giancarlo was very calm. There was a lady there. They pulled up all the imagery of the x-rays that they had taken and the CTs, and she explained everything in layman's terms, and Giancarlo was very coherent, and he listened, you know, and asked questions, and I just thought that, you know, it's pretty remarkable to sustain this type injury. Thankfully, if it had to happen, it hit him where it did, and you know, no other place it could have been worse. As hard as that is to believe, it certainly could have been worse than it was. And we're just hoping for a speedy recovery and that all the medical procedures can go according to plan, and he's back and as good as Big G can be.
I don't think any of us would be surprised if he is able to get back and play a few games this year.
As I said to him when I walked in, there's nothing he could do that would surprise any of us because we've witnessed so many great things over his time as a Marlin.
Donovan Solano with a count 0-2. Cole Hamels trying to pitch around a second and third and 2-out spot. He's gone up with fastballs to Solano, and he goes even higher and misses. Marlins have been able to beat Hamels in low-scoring games throughout his career. An opportunity here in the third. When will it be when the Marlins return home that they first see their teammate?
I would think so. That's probably the first time. I know in speaking to his agent today, Joel Wolf, and also talking to Sean Cunningham, they did some dental work today. I think he has 5 teeth that are compromised, and so you know that's going to be an ongoing process, but I'm sure that will be the first time that we see him, and it'll be a welcome sight for both parties, I'm sure.
Two balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Scoreless game in Philly. And a pitch in the dirt. Casey McGee on deck. Dan Jennings, Marlins general manager. And in your first year, you've got to be very proud of where this franchise has come from. A 100-loss season last year.
Yeah, I'm just so happy with these kids and how they played, and just the way they've responded to any and all challenges.
Joe West rings up Donovan Solano. DJ, thanks for the visit. And I know it's been a tough 24 hours, but let's all keep our fingers crossed and our prayers for Giancarlo's speedy recovery.
You bet. Big G, if you're listening, we're praying for you. Rally. We know you will.
Well said. AT&T fan photo time. Tweet your photo, hashtag it FL fan photo. It's a chance to have it shown in an upcoming telecast. Maybe this one. It's brought to you by AT&T. Anderson Alvarez to work on the 8-9-1 hitters in the Phillies order. And the 0-1 to Freddie Galvis is a strike. Galvis, who has struggled with the bat, has been up and down from AAA. Very good defensive player. It's 0-2.
You know, it's amazing his average just 134, yet the other night he had a 3-hit game. He had a 3-for-3 game against Pittsburgh.
Solano comes to get the hop and then gets the out. There's one out here in the third. Watch parties coming up Tuesday the 16th. Duffy Sports Grill in Coconut Grove. Marlins and Mets that night at 7:10. You got prizes. You got Billy. You got the energy team. And great food and drink specials at Duffy's Sports Grill in the Grove. Marlins.com for information.
Now, over the years, Cole Hamels has always swung the bat pretty well. He has 9 hits this year. I know Henderson Alvarez is a little disappointed that he didn't drop down that sac bunt last inning. That was the key to that inning, and he's usually pretty good in that situation.
Hamels a liner into left. And so the Phillies get a hit out of Hamels. And top of the order, Ben Revere comes up. Last night for the Marlins themselves, and I would expect for many fans, the focus on Giancarlo Stanton and all that happened in Milwaukee, and the standings in the National League wild card race didn't really seem all that important much of the night and into the morning. But as play starts on this Friday in Major League Baseball, the Marlins 5.5 back in the wild card. Pittsburgh in that second wild card spot. San Francisco in the first. Milwaukee a 1.5 back, and Atlanta 2 back. And of course, tonight, everybody in action. The Pirates, the team that the Brewers, the Braves, and the Marlins are closest to chasing, have a 1-0 lead at home against the Cubs in the bottom of the third. Alvarez gets a strike on a changeup, and Revere looks like he hurt himself on that swing.
Well, the bottom fell out of that one. That's the amazing thing. That was 94 with some unbelievable movement. That tie up a lot of guys.
That looked like he didn't quite roll, but maybe tweaked an ankle. Chopper, Solano out there, and that's it. Revere runs quite well. In fact, he may be running, although watching him come back to first, he's still limping noticeably from that swing.
Good play by Donovan Solano. You factor all that out before you even get the ball. He knew that the runner going first to second was Cole Hamels, so he took that ball in the hole. He had to go to his left, but he knew he had time with the pitcher running.
Of course, that could be an age-old ploy in Major League Baseball. A speedy runner with a leg injury limping, and then all of a sudden he gets to first, and bam, he's off and he steals second base. Our director Jim Holley reminds us, and kids, you might not remember this guy, Mickey Rivers used to look like he was ready to fall apart before stealing a bag. Solano again in the hole. This time he can go the short way to Baker and get the out on Cody Ashe. Henderson Alvarez is through 3 here in Philly. Marlins and Phils are scoreless.
The MVP of the National League, but more importantly to these guys who are with him every day, their friend, their pal, their bro, Giancarlo Stanton, go down, and the bonding that has occurred from the response both last night and here tonight. Take a look at this. Giancarlo's jersey is hanging. Stanton, 27, in the Marlins dugout. Talking to Casey McGee, he said this is a strange thing to say because we're pretty close, but something like this can bond you even tighter. When you face some kind of adversity, you see your friend go down in such a way, and you see the way the team responded last night, and there's a base hit, a little response for Casey right here. And I'll tell you what, his presence is here tonight, even though I know Giancarlo, probably watching, is back home in South Florida.
Oh, it's good to see. And McGee with a solid shot up the middle. And, it was a surreal flight last night, and the team's still very much in shock. And Dan Jennings, the general manager, announced to everybody, gave them medical updates, passed along the words that Stanton had for his team. And the ball club arrived here at 4 a.m. I'm sure everybody didn't get to bed to 4:35 a.m. And so here they are, not a lot of sleep, still reeling from last night. They've put together some good at-bats against Cole Hamels, Tommy. They just don't have a run right now.
Yeah, and just to get back to Dan Jennings in the booth talking about how this was a plan from the very beginning, from the offseason, to create that kind of atmosphere with the kind of players that were brought in, the kind of players that were already here. And I think we saw that, and we've seen it all come together.
But you know what? It doesn't happen. None of that happens if your best player doesn't buy in. I remember 6-7 years ago talking to a manager in baseball about Albert Pujols, and I asked him, why is Pujols so special? And he said, when your best player is your hardest worker, he tilts the entire diamond towards him, and all his teammates see how he works. That one is hit left center field. Revere to the track, and he makes the catch. Tagging is McGee, and he'll hold first base. So Zuna came very close to homers in 5 straight games.
Boy, he just got under that. Good swing, and also that's one of the deeper parts out there in left center. A lot of hang time, so Ben Revere, who covers a lot of ground, was able to get there and make the play.
Revere still limping out in center field. But the manager's point was, Pujols, best player in baseball, hard worker. Everybody sees that. Everybody follows along. Stanton, from the very start of spring training, in early, working hard. You heard Jared Saltalamacchia the other day on Intentional Talk say he's one of the hardest working players he's ever been around, and it really shocked him because you look at Stanton and you see, oh, he's a physical specimen. He can do anything. But that doesn't come from, you know, sitting around. It's the hard work he puts in the cage, in the weight room, in the tunnel. That one's ripped in the corner, and it's fair. Rounding second. McGee on his way to third. They'll hold him there. And Jeff Baker has got himself a double. And the Marlins are set up second and third. One out. And it's Saltalamacchia who's coming up.
Well, Hamels got Baker back in the second inning. He struck him out, but Jeff Baker ready. Fastball in. He gets it the other way and into that corner, chasing Casey McGee over to third. We were talking about Saltalamacchia, his comments about Giancarlo, and Salty's been around some good players too in his career.
And so, yeah, it's great to have a family, but when your best player and the best player in the National League is the guy leading the charge, then it happens. And so Saltalamacchia here in a big spot. Let's see what the Phillies do with their infield. The middle infield's back, so a ground ball up the middle produces a run. And Hamels elevates a fastball. You got Ed Lucas on deck. He has doubled against Hamels. One 0. Look out. Everybody okay? I think everybody's okay. Saltalamacchia gets a new bat and puts a little pine tar on it to try to help the grip.
He's not even going to worry about that one in the seats.
Right now he's worrying about contact. Middle infield's back. McGee at third. Baker at second. And Hamels staying up with a fastball. Marlins fan got the bat. Looks like he's with his father, I believe.
Look at Dad's got the Phillies cap. Kid's got the Marlins red-orange cap.
And his kid's got the bat. 2-1. Foul back. Saltalamacchia bounced into a double play back in the second.
The last game for Hamels, he went 6 1/3 against the Nationals and got hurt by Adam LaRoche. LaRoche had a couple of home runs against him.
You can see the infield creeping in now with 2 strikes. Pulled down the third baseline. Here comes McGee. The tag is in time. He's out. Ashe's throw arrived just in front of McGee. And Ruiz with a tag.
That's a really terrific play by Cody Ashe, because you don't have time to give yourself an angle. And he sets and throws over the head of Casey McGee to Carlos Ruiz.
Mike Redmond has come to the plate to talk to Joe West. We'll see how it looks. It's close. Bang, bang. I don't think he blocked the plate. It looked like he had a lane. Mike Redmond may be asking that in hopes that they'll look for safer out on a review.
And really, that's a case where that really, you throw that, he's got to move that way to catch the ball.
Yeah, absolutely.
He has to go right there to catch the ball.
No issues there with Ruiz.
And it looks like he gets the tag up on the forearm before Casey gets to the plate.
So Mike Redmond, it looks like, if he wanted New York to look at safer out, would have had to use a challenge there. And I think Joe West, rightfully so, Because I think a lot of umpires now are quick to go to the New York anytime someone says, hey, he was blocking the plate. So it's, in watching West, it looked like he said, hey, look, he wasn't blocking the plate. And if you want me to go to New York for safe route, we can do that. Here's Lucas now.
But in the meantime, the Marlins failed to get a run in the situation. Runner at third base, less than 2 out. Now with 2 out, Ed Lucas with those numbers, look at that, 4 doubles, 6 for 15 against Hamels. Now you're going to have to rely on a base hit or an error or a wild pitch.
Ball and a strike. Lucas's playing time since he's been back to the big leagues has been spare for, you know, a couple reasons. The Marlins really haven't had a lot of injuries in the spots where you see Lucas pop up at third or short or second or first.
And Donovan Solano's been doing a nice job at second. Echeverria has been steady at short. Casey McGee at third.
Well, there's hits up and down the lineup, but no runs yet. Marlins had second and third and 2 outs in the third and didn't score. At the corners here with 2 outs. Lucas checks his swing, and it's 2-2.
Well, just thinking about that throw from Cody Ashley. I mean, that's a throw that can hit the runner very easily. And the Marlins get a run, and who knows where the ball goes if it hits the runner.
Swing and a miss, and Hamels wriggles out of it again. Striking out Lucas and keeping this a scoreless game. Palmetto 57 Nissan and Palmetto 57 Volkswagen. Home of your money-back guarantee. By Rand Eye Institute. Imagine clear, focused vision without the hassle of glasses or contacts. For more info, go to randeye.com and by your South Florida Chevy dealers. Rich Waltz along with Tommy Hutton and Craig Minervini. The Rocky Balboa statue, which used to sit outside the arena across the street.
Outside the old Spectrum.
Yes.
Now there's a big sports bar over there.
That must have been quite the endeavor to move him down to the art museum by the steps.
Yeah, he had to run. They had to carry him through the market.
Yeah, I mean, they literally had to take him through his path of,
same path
of running through Philly to get him to the art museum.
And I forget which Rocky it was, but one of the scenes he's running along the Schuylkill River.
The boathouses, right?
Yeah.
Chase Utley, Ryan Howard, Marlon Byrd, Henderson Alvarez working here in the fourth. Utley with that short, violent swing into right field. A base hit. Prep Zone High School football tomorrow at 4 o'clock on Fox Sports Florida. St. Thomas Aquinas against Don Bosco Prep of New Jersey. It's a star-studded matchup. All the action on Fox Sports Florida tomorrow at 4 o'clock. National title contenders. So there'll be a lot of fans up in this neck of the woods interested in that football game as well. Ryan Howard struck out back in the first on a 3-2 changeup.
Big shift on with Howard, and that sends Casey McGee over on the right side of the infield. Echeverria stays on the left side.
Center field, Ozuna has it. Utley around second, on his way to third. Throw is cut. And oddly enough, it's McGee who's the cutoff man, and Echeverria at third base.
Yeah, that was really an interesting dynamic, watching as soon as that ball was hit, how the infielders had to move over and try to get in a position to receive that ball from Ozuna. A couple of balls hit really well, Utley and now Howard. Ozuna comes up with a strong throw, and you see Casey and Echeverria. It was Echeverria who actually scampered over to third to cover third base, and Casey became the cutoff man.
You know, if there's a silver lining to this season for the Phillies, it's the fact that Utley, just watching him run from first to third there, remember how painful it was to watch him a couple years ago with all the issues that he had? Middle infield back, corners in. Marlon Byrd takes in, and it pops out of Saltalamacchia's glove. It hit Byrd before, and that will send Utley back to third, but it sends Byrd down to first, and the bags are loaded.
Yeah, Chase Utley, 35 years old now. This ball looks like it just clips Byrd. Not sure if it gets him right on the jersey. A little bit of the jersey fluffed up there.
You can see it move. So Dominic Brown, the hitter for the Phillies, he's single back in the second. Marlins with a couple of opportunities against Hamels, and for the Phillies, their first big opportunity against Alvarez. Bags loaded, nobody out. Middle infield back for two.
Brown had a pretty good swing his last time up with that base hit. He's 5 for 15 against Henderson Alvarez.
Now one rolled foul. Brown, a year removed from an all-star season. As you can see the numbers on the bottom, he has not come close to matching his year of last year, which he had 27 home runs in 139 games.
Can you have, Rich, a conundrum in your lineup? Dominic Brown is kind of that. He had a good first half last year, and then really tailed off the second half and hasn't gotten back to that first half form.
Bases filled with Phillies, and it's 2-1. Your Phillies box score. Both teams have 5 hits. Jeff Baker very deep at first. McGee's even at third. And the Marlins, except for a ball that brings McGee towards the line or forward, probably looking for a double play here. In the air to right and not real deep. Lucas comes charging in, calls for it, catches it, and the throw is all the way to the plate. Holding third is Utley. Nice out to get for Alvarez, and now he goes after Ruiz.
For a guy who has not been out there very much at all, really good communication, because he lets Donovan Solano know, and you want the outfielder to catch the ball in that situation, because all of his momentum is going toward the plate, and you saw how with that momentum Ed Lucas came up with a perfect throw. One hopper right to Saltalamacchia.
Well, if Alvarez could duplicate the at bat from the second and get a ground ball from Ruiz, he could get out of the center. He pulled a bouncer to McGee, and it turned into a 5-4-3 double play.
Well, when Henderson Alvarez is on his game, his game is lots of ground ball outs.
One and 0.
You know, prior to his last start, to Alvarez's last start, as you check on the base runners there, remember he had to leave that last start 2 1/3 innings, but prior to that he'd gone 5 straight starts where he'd gone 6 or more innings, and the Marlins have played well for him. The Marlins are 18-8 in his 26 starts.
There's a roller at Echeverria. Solano one, got the double play, and Alvarez works out of a bases loaded, nobody out spot and keeps this ball game scoreless. Marlins and Phillies have played 4, no runs yet. Twitter, not only the Marlins players, but players from all around baseball sending out their best wishes and prayers to Giancarlo Stanton. These are 4 from the Marlins: Jared Cozart, Christian Yelich, AJ Ramos, who is Stanton's closest friend on the team, and Steve Cishek. Hashtag Get Well Giancarlo if you'd like to send out your support as well. Echeverria squares the bunt. takes a strike. And if you'd like to post images and messages of support for Giancarlo on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, use the hashtag GetWellGiancarlo, and you can view the posts. High chopper, Ashy loads up and gets the out. Marlins.com/GetWellGiancarlo. Marlins.com/GetWellGiancarlo to view the posts. To make one, just hashtag it GetWellGiancarlo on the Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook.
Just to show you the concern around baseball, while we were around the batting cage, Jimmy Rollins inquiring about Giancarlo. Wanted to make sure everything was okay.
Alvarez swings and misses. We watched Henderson Alvarez between innings in the dugout. He was twisting and stretching a little bit.
Yeah, you wonder if that's going to hinder how he swings, and he still gets himself a base hit.
He is one of the most unique players I've ever seen in baseball. He has brought his average up to close to 220 with that base hit to right.
Well, his 11th base hit of the season. Fights off a fastball that was in and shoots it out toward Marlon Byrd for a base hit.
Actually 224 to be exact. Don't want to slight him 4 points in his batting average. Yelich is 0 for 2 against Hamels. You'll watch batting practice, and during BP, infielders will take ground balls. Every now and then you look up and watch Echeverria, and Alvarez is out there at shortstop with Echeverria trading turns with the ground balls,
which is actually something you used to see a little bit more. And I think over the last few years, general managers and such have gotten a little leery of having their starting pitchers out there. But there were many pitchers years ago who used to do that as a way of working out, fielding ground balls. It would just help them as they played their position after they threw a pitch.
Well, and the guys that do that or did that were guys that did field their position quite well, as Alvarez does. 3-0 pitch is a strike.
Let's see what Yelich gets 3-1. So far, Hamels has handled him pretty well, and Christian Yelich 0 for 9 in his career against Cole Hamels.
Yelich hits lefties well. He's got 9 home runs this season. And he takes. And that would be ball 4. Fox tracks. Yelich may have caught a break. That one did have the plate. It looked like it caught the knees. So first and second, Solano up. This copyrighted telecast presented by the authority of the Marlins may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Miami Marlins. So Yelich walks. Solano's 0 for 2. He's bounced out and struck out. And he fouls it back.
I was reading a story about Cole Hamels. We've talked about it before over the years. When Hamels was in high school as a junior, he broke his arm. He broke his throwing arm. And he was a couple of months in a sling. And then we've also had this name that we've talked about with Tommy John surgeries. He then started throwing under the tutelage of Tom House out in Southern California.
If you watched Inside the Marlins Armed and Dangerous, Tom House is one of the leaders in throwing mechanics and trying to prevent arm injuries, and has had some success. Of course, a major league pitcher. That one fouled back and out of play.
So far tonight, yes, the Marlins have had chances. They're 1 for 6 with runners in scoring position.
Alvarez is the lead runner, and you've got speed behind him with Yelich. Alvarez just broke towards third. And Solano takes strike 3 called. That's a big breaking ball, and it comes a long ways, but it found its mark.
And it's almost like it comes out of nowhere, because you've seen fastballs and changeups, and then all of a sudden here it comes, drops it in, a perfect pitch.
Whatever trouble Hamels has gotten himself into tonight, he's been able to pitch out of it. And he's trying to do it again here in the 5th. McGee a single and a fly ball to right. McGee drives it in the gap, right center. Bird goes back at the track, makes the catch. And again, the Marlins lead 2. Halfway through, still no runs. Two checkers brings you the starters. Brad Hand trying to follow up a nice performance, and Kyle Kendrick, the guy that gave the Marlins problems for the longest times. The Fish have figured him out the last few. In a scoreless game in the bottom of the 5th in Philly, we check in with Craig Minervini.
Well, Rich, as you guys know from sitting in the broadcast booth, it's sea of red here in Philadelphia. It always is, and even this year, well out of it. Maybe last place, maybe not. Good crowd here on a Friday night. Not much red-orange in here. Look at this. The Marlins bat, that Saltalamacchi's bat, came right in the hands of an alleged Marlin fan.
Yeah, I got it. It was pretty cool.
I mean, you came here for a ball. You went with a bat. What do you think?
I don't know. It's pretty crazy. We just got the hell out of the way. And landed right here, and I picked it up.
So as Dad has a Phillies hat on, and you have a Marlin hat on, but you're not really a Marlin fan.
No, we're actually Mets fans. It's,
We're from New York.
It's all a lie.
You're from New York?
We're from New York. I'm his dad.
Wait a minute. You're from New York, and you're wearing a Phillies hat?
And he's wearing a Marlins hat.
I get that, but Philly in New York.
I want to feel at home.
You don't like the Phillies at all.
Yeah, we love the Phillies. It's a great place. It's a great place to watch baseball.
Now wait a minute. I don't know any Met fan who likes the Phillies or any team from Philadelphia. So it's a little ploy, the old Marlin hat. Maybe the orange. Even I got the orange shirt on.
A little switcheroo. It stands out in the crowd. Sometimes they'll throw you a ball. It's pretty cool. Yeah.
All right, let me ask you this one: would you wear a Phillies hat? Would you stoop that low?
Oh yeah, I wore it earlier today.
That's amazing. All right, it's a new generation, I guess. Well, congratulations. They got the bat here. And fortunately, nobody got hurt. You guys worried?
Hit right there.
Hit right here.
All right, good to hear.
Hey, Craig.
Yes.
I have an apology to give to you.
Yes.
We were in Milwaukee, and I stumbled by this person at the front desk of our hotel, and I made a mental note to tell you that he was at the hotel. I know your affinity for, there's the lollipop curve.
Yes.
Your affinity for game show hosts and such.
Oh, no.
Bob Eubanks was in our hotel in Milwaukee.
I cannot believe you didn't tell me that.
I know. I'm sorry. That's why I'm apologizing. And I was at the front desk. I didn't really recognize him, but the front desk attendant said, Mr. Eubanks, can I get you this? And then I heard his voice, and once you hear the voice and the name, and I looked over, and there he was, Bob Eubanks.
Did he say there's a super exciting sofa in the lobby?
No, he didn't say it was the new car.
He was a great host from the Newlywed Game.
Yes, he was. All right,
thanks, Richard.
All right, nice report down there. That's some crafty Met fans dressed as a Philly fan and a Marlin fan.
You hear that every once in a while. If a youngster wears the cap of a team that's in town, a visiting team, they might have a better chance of getting an autographed ball or a ball thrown to them during batting practice. Lo and behold, they got a bat, though.
No, they didn't ask for it. It was sent their way. Special delivery. Same-day delivery. Here's Ben Revere now. Revere takes a strike. Storylines here tonight. The Marlins, night after the horrific injury to Giancarlo Stanton, opening up a 3-game series against the Phillies. Henderson Alvarez escaped a bases-loaded jam in the 4th. Other than that, he's been terrific. Cole Hamels has escaped 3 opportunities that the Marlins have had, though they haven't had the opportunities with nobody out. So both teams have left runners. Neither team has a run. And Alvarez is through 5 innings on a 1-2-3 fifth. Miami and Philly scoreless. Where the Fanatic is racing around the ballpark. 2015 Marlins season ticket deposits. If you put one down now, you can walk off with half your deposit and complimentary tickets for the next homestand. Ticket plans start as low as $380. So start saving today. 1-877-MARLINS. You go to marlins.com/2015 tickets. Hamels back to work. Ozuna in the box. He's 1 for 2, and he narrowly missed a home run with a deep fly ball out to left center his last at bat. Home runs in 4 consecutive games. Ozuna swings and misses. Toyota trend with Giancarlo, without Giancarlo since 2010. You can see the winning percentage significantly higher, as you would expect. Marlins, of course, trying to figure out a way to win ball games without him for the time being. The medical news today on Stanton, very good. Bouncer out towards second. After watching last night and seeing that the scene that we saw to get the report that Stanton is eating today. The plastic surgery was last night, that all of the fractures in his face are non-displaced, so he doesn't need reconstructive bone surgery. The stitches were for cuts on his face and in his mouth. He does need some substantial dental work in the next coming days. But the fact that he's eating and communicating with his teammates upbeat is just terrific news. Here's Baker now. Baker doubled back in the fourth. Marlins had opportunities in the third, with runners first and second and nobody out. In the fourth, runners second and third and one out. And then in the fifth, runners first and second and one out.
Now Baker getting a start tonight with Hamels out there.
And Bakes responds with a liner into center, and a 2-for-3 night so far.
Well, he's second half of the season for Jeff Baker. Hit well over 300 in July, the same in August. And when you put him out there against a lefty, he has good at bats all the time. Not to mention he's had some good ones against righties as well.
So Baker's aboard. Here's Saltalamacchia. The closest the Marlins have come to a run was the ball off Saltalamacchia's bat. Cody Ashe, the Phillies third baseman, ranged behind the bag. Casey McGee, the runner at third, broke for the plate, and Ashe made a perfect throw to get a sliding McGee. South Florida Honda dealers ready to bring you Marlins Live pregame, Game 2 preview. Craig Minervini solo from Philly, though we'll be here to lend a hand, and the Fanatic occasionally will come by and mess Craig's hair up. 0-2. Into the bat and a little flare into center. Revere makes the catch.
That's one of the things he does so well. Got a really nice jump on a ball that you have a power hitter take a big cut, but he hit it off the end of the bat, and Revere still got a good jump.
Teams in the wild card ahead of the Marlins in action tonight. Pittsburgh a 3-2 lead over the Cubs in the fifth. Atlanta scoreless in Texas in the third. And Cincinnati a 1-0 lead over Milwaukee in the second. Hamels busts Lucas in. Doubled in the third, did Lucas, down the right field line. And he struck out in the fourth.
I think one of the amazing runs that Hamels has been on, 19 consecutive games, 3 earned runs or less. But he's a ways from the Phillies record.
I was about to say, you weren't even a Philly when that happened.
This is late 60s, but a guy who was just a terrific pitcher. Chris Short, left-hander, went 26 consecutive starts, allowing 3 earned runs or less.
I'm amazed that Carlton never had a run.
Yeah,
like
me
that.
too. Chris Short back in the Chris Short and Jim Bunning days.
A lot of big series on the West Coast tonight. Dodgers, Giants, Oakland at Seattle. The Angels have a series against Houston. The Angels, go ahead and print those postseason tickets.
Yeah, just go ahead and buy them. Hey, how about this? Look at this score. You know, Marlins president of baseball ops, Michael Hill, up there, hopefully to see the Jacksonville club win the series, win the championship.
Spoke to Michael Hill this afternoon, checking in on the status of Giancarlo Stanton, and he said that they have the champagne in a very safe spot, and they're hoping to be able to uncork it tonight. Hamels has run the count full, 3-2 to Lucas. Baker, the runner at first. 2 outs. He'll be on the move. Lucas, a high chopper. Ashe waits. Cross the diamond. He's safe. Lucas beat it. And Baker hustling all the way to third. The infield here seems very hard tonight. We've seen a couple balls really take off, and that one did.
Boy, this one's close, and Ryan Sandberg is going to come out.
Back of the glove. Super slow-mo. I think he beat it.
It's touching the glove, but I don't think it's in the back of the glove.
You're right.
And if you're going to get to that point, and if that's the call, which it is, then Ed Lucas beat it. And if he did, it's his second hit tonight.
Ryan Sandberg said, hey, he wants to challenge it. So he's going to challenge it. You could see, watch the glove, foot's on the bag, it's still on, and you shuttle it forward. Number one, I think he beat it. Number two, I don't think there's enough to overturn it.
There shouldn't be.
But you never know.
And if there is, it's another heck of a play by Cody Ashe at third base.
He's looked good over there. He and Baker talking about it. Not much you could do if you're Ashe is wait for it to come down and get it over as quick as you can. You give Lucas credit for getting down the line.
It's not taking too long.
Nope.
All right, he's safe.
I think part of the strategy, too, for the Phils is seventh inning on, umpires can go to replay. So many managers, when you get to the fifth or the sixth inning, if it's close, will use that challenge. Call is confirmed. So there is evidence, plenty of it, that he was safe.
So once again, the Marlins with a couple of men on base. They have left two men on base in each of the last 3 innings. And they have 2 men on here.
Echeverria, an infield hit in the third. He bounced to third. Back in the fifth. And Hamels misses down low. Now Hamels, this is an interesting spot. First base isn't open, but second is. Alvarez is on deck, though he has a hit. Echeverria hitting 8th in the lineup tonight. And Hamels looks like he's being cautious with Echeverria. Missed low, and he missed in.
There's Alvarez. It's good to see Echeverria get that infield base hit. Remember, we talked about Yelich having his hitting streak snapped last night. Echeverria had a 9-game streak snapped last night.
See if he gets something 2-0. He did, and he muscles it into right field for a base hit. And Miami has a run. Boy, Hamels was working cautiously, and that was not an easy pitch to hit. Echeverria inside outed a pitch that was in, and Miami has a 1-0 lead.
And so much of that, Rich, is a payoff as to the approach that Echeverria's had all year. Thinking the other way, inside outing a lot of pitches. That was off the plate, on his hands. He got enough of it. And I like the fact that he took a shot because he knew the pitcher was up after it.
Without a doubt. And here is Alvarez. And Alvarez takes inside. And for Hamels, he's got to be steaming right now because he obviously wasn't going to throw Echeverria a strike. And he's good enough that he's able to do that.
And in fact, he didn't.
That's right. Count 1-1. Alvarez punched a liner into right for a hit back in the 5th inning. So Miami has a run, a 1-0 lead.
9 hits off Cole Hamels.
Lucas at second, Echeverria at first. 1-1 to Alvarez. Grounder to short. Galvis. That was Cole Hamels, you heard. We apologize for his choice of words, but not for the run. The Marlins won't apologize for that. It's 1-0. Run against Hamels. Danny Echeverria with an RBI hit. Major League Baseball doubleheader tomorrow, and it starts on Fox. Yankees and Orioles. They're playing a doubleheader today as the Orioles try to win that East. 12:30 start on Fox. Then over on Fox Sports 1, Padres and Diamondbacks. That's a night game, 7:30. Or it's streaming live on Fox Sports Go.
Baltimore winning the first game of that doubleheader today, 2-1, and they have a 2-0 lead in Game 2 in the 6th inning.
Big inning for Henderson Alvarez. The Marlins have scratched out a run. Cody Ashley, Chase Utley, Ryan Howard.
The Orioles, Rich, dealing without one of their big sluggers for the next 3 weeks.
Chris Davis, 25-game suspension for amphetamines. Davis admitting that it was Adderall. He had, he says, a prescription or a TUE, the waiver that allows a player who has a medical need for that drug to use it. He says he's had it in the past, but he doesn't have it now, and he accepts the suspension. As far as the postseason goes, I've been reading different scenarios and how the Orioles get around this, that they may have to start the postseason with one fewer guy on their postseason roster if they want him to be able to join them in that postseason.
Interesting. You know, he has 26 home runs, but hitting just 196, and quite a difference from his year last year. Chris Davis had 53 home runs for the Orioles.
2-2. Pitch in the dirt. Baltimore with 17 games left starting today. Under the terms of the game's drug agreement, the remaining 8 games on his suspension applied to the postseason.
Well, you can't go the first 8 games of postseason with 24 guys. So it's pretty clear cut what decision the Orioles will make, I would think.
Liner down the left field line and into the seats. Backing up is Baker. That's a veteran move to get yourself a good hop at first base. Let's check in with Craig Minervini.
Hey, Rich, Ed Lucas done a nice job in this game, both offensively and defensively, but he does want to remind you he's number 59, not number 27.
We'd ask that, how's it feel to replace Giancarlo? And obviously that's not going to happen. But yeah, it just so happens that I'm going to be out there tonight. Hopefully I can do some sort of imitation of what he does out there.
Ed told me that he has played over the years quite a few games in the outfield, mostly corner, either left or right. He says there's no difference to him between left field and right field from his standpoint. He has had one start this year. That was in San Francisco in right field. And he said, obviously, that's a big landscape out there. This one much tighter, but he enjoys playing right field. He's had a couple of nice cutoff throws already, the one to the plate, and handled himself at the bat, which is pretty amazing because he really hasn't had many opportunities here in his latest return, guys.
That one hooked down the line, and it's a fair ball. Lucas into the corner to get it. Utley on his way to second, and on his way to third. Lucas had some issues, and Utley has got himself 3 bases.
Yeah, for a minute, it looked like Ed Lucas had gotten there, and had he been able to do that, he would have held Utley to a double. But here's what happens in that corner. It's a little trouble picking it, and then once he gets it out of that corner, Utley, who you pointed out is running really well, looks over his shoulder, and he ends up at third base.
Infield drawn in, and it's Ryan Howard against Henderson Alvarez, with Utley 90 feet away. It's a double and an error on Lucas.
Surprised at that, because I don't think Utley really hesitated around second.
Howard flips it down the left field line, foul and out of play. Howard, one of those guys that as an infielder, there's a big gulp when you see Perry Hill on the top step saying, let's bring the infield in.
It's amazing with the year that he's having, hitting in the low 220s, that he comes into the game with 92 RBIs.
Good fastball by Alvarez at 95 miles an hour. Now he struck him out, did Alvarez, on a 3-2 changeup back in the first.
That's a pitch that, if thrown properly, and maybe not all the time, but every once in a while you show him the changeup and then go up with that fastball, he's not going to get to.
1-2. Check swing. Think he went? Nope. Marty Foster said no.
In the month of September, Ryan Howard has struck out 15 times and has just one extra base hit. So it's been a struggle for the big guy.
He's right about major league average. One out, tying run at third. Infield in. Alvarez.
He tried to go up again to get him to chase that fastball. And the velocity's still there. That's good to see.
Whew. That's close. Remember, it was a 3-2 change that got him in the first. 3-2 here. Got him with a changeup again. That power change at 91 just died on the outside part.
How about 17 strikeouts now here in the month of September? And the key to that changeup is the fact that he showed him a 95-mile-an-hour heater a couple of times during that at-bat. Good to have him back. Good to have Henderson Alvarez back.
Well, he's got one more hitter to get, a guy that's had success against him in his career. Marlon Byrd is 7 for 14 against Alvarez. 2 outs in the 6th. And it gets by Saltalamacchia. And Utley scores.
Didn't get the glove all the way down, and the irony to that is when you don't, the ball skips and stays low, and it got right underneath Saltalamacchia.
It's going to go as a wild pitch, and Alvarez misses in, and it's 2-0 to Marlon Byrd. Two and one. Another breaking ball, and the count 2-2. A couple little things. The issue with the ball in the corner, and then a breaking ball in the dirt that got between the legs of Saltalamacchia. And the Phillies have tied the game. Hit him on the elbow pad.
Yeah, you could hear that all the way up here. Second time that Bird's been hit. The other time he just got his jersey brushed.
Dominic Brown coming up.
You know, you see more and more players, and I have to laugh. Going back a few weeks ago during the Little League World Series, all the little Asian kids from the Asian countries, just about every one of them wearing the big elbow pad.
Made popular by maybe the most popular Asian player ever, and that's Ichiro.
Yeah.
Dominic Brown. Brown singled in the second. Fly to right in the fourth. And that's going to get into left field. Echeverria was playing over the middle, shifted against the left-handed hitting Brown. And the Phillies have runners first and second.
Now you got to make sure you stop things right here. So far, Alvarez has been able to handle Carlos Ruiz. He's got him to hit into a couple of double plays. Doesn't need the double play now, just needs a ground ball for 1 out.
Two outs, and Alvarez trying to keep this from becoming a bigger inning than it already has been. Rui signed to a 3-year contract that has a couple more years left on it. He has been a very big part of the Phillies' run. This is his 9th year as a Philly. Very underappreciated player, especially on those 2 World Series teams. Echeverria gets the hop, flips to third in time to get the out, and Alvarez out of the inning. On a wild pitch, the Phillies tie the game, and it's 1-1. 7th inning. We go back to last year in the wake of Giancarlo Stanton getting hit last night. Remember, Jason Hayward took one on the jaw. Now that one a little more of a glancing blow, still just an awful sight. And Hayward would come back with a protector, and he still wears it this year. He told me earlier this year he just feels comfortable with it, not ready to change. It does not affect his sight. Hamels started from the stretch instead of the windup.
Well, the Marlins have 9 hits, so he's worked from the stretch every inning except the first inning.
Even a veteran every now and then has a cramp out there. Yelich bunting. Hamels has it and fires to first in time to get it.
Had a teammate with the Montreal Expos, Ellis Valentine, also hit in the head, who would wear for a year or so the similar type protection around his helmet. He wore that for a while.
Here's Donovan Solano. A 1-1 game. Hamels and Alvarez. You think about both runs. Both teams have had some great opportunities to score throughout the night. Both runs scoring on what you would consider one a much bigger mistake, and that's the wild pitch by Alvarez and the ball getting by Saltalamacchia between his legs. But the other for Hamels, that with Echeverria and the pitcher on deck, he was trying to pitch Echeverria, A, carefully, B, around him, whichever you want to choose. And Echeverria took a 2-0 pitch that was in and fought it off and dumped it into right for a run-scoring hit. And you saw Hamels and heard Hamels' reaction at the end of that inning. Solano is the second out. Give your group a true VIP experience. Legends and Fiesta Suites give you the suite experience on just a single game basis and feature all-inclusive food and beverage menus, premium seats, big screen TVs, personal service, and a perfect view of the game. 1-877 Marlins.
And Rich, think of the difference for Cole Hamels working to this lineup without Giancarlo Stanton. Stanton has had a pretty good track record with success against Hamels. 12 for 43, so 12 hits, and 3 of those for home runs.
And this year he was 4 for 8 with a home run. McGee fouls it back. McGee has a single. His last at bat, he drove Marlon Byrd to the base of the wall in right center field. Coors Cold Hard Facts. Last night's 4 Marlin ejections set a new club record.
I was wondering about that last night.
'07.
I'm trying to think of one of those games had to be the Chris Volstad, Gabby Sanchez, Niger Morgan.
That's probably 2010.
That might have been 2010.
Galvis to first in time. 1-2-3 inning for Hamels. Alvarez will try to answer. 7th inning stretch in Philly. from the Comcast building here in Philly. Henderson Alvarez goes to work. Freddie Galvis got the pitcher spot due up next. Alvarez to the plate for a strike. It was Franklin Field down below.
Over by the 30th Street station, train station.
Where was the old ballpark in Philly? No, I mean not the vet, but
more on the north side of the city.
Okay.
Connie Mack.
Franklin Field, Penn Relays. Is that where the Penn Relays are?
Penn Relays. Yep.
It's where the Eagles played a long time ago.
Yeah, the Eagles used to play there.
Tommy McDonald, right? Marcelo Zuna runs it down and makes the catch. Alvarez with an out here in the 7th. Fan photo. Let's see what we got. Let's see what the blue ribbon panel has for tonight. Wow, that was quick.
Maybe it's the faux Marlins fan.
That was quick. If you DVR'd the game, please back up 20 seconds. And that is your AT&T fan photo. Every now and then you get a bad hop.
You know what? It was an early morning arrival for the crack staff, too.
Without a doubt. And last night,
the blue ribbon panel.
They apparently did not make the trip. Darren Ruff will hit for Cole Hamels. Let's try this again, Hut.
All right.
Oh, our friends from Texas. Fan photo. I'm not sure who the clown is in the middle.
No, it's our leader. That's our leader.
That's John Solser, our producer. Gary and Maryland. They used to be the Texans in teal. They've gone with the new look. And whenever we are fortunate enough to have a game in the great state of Texas, it's got to be interleague, right? It's got to be either Houston or the Rangers.
Now it does, yeah.
The booth and the truck are plied with plenty of tasty snacks.
As we had our fans in Milwaukee.
Ben Revere. Revere 0 for 3. Boy, if the Marlins get 7 innings out of Alvarez, he's right at 100 pitches, and you would think that for Alvarez, this might be the end. It's the end of the line for Hamels. He's left for a pinch hitter. Chopper, a lot of speed. Echeverria has it, no problem. Alvarez goes 1, 2, 3 in the 7th. 1-1. Button up. Marlins and Phils. 1-1 game going to the 8th. Game summary brought to you by Gulfstream Park.
Well, we're going to show you the runs. Just great hitting by Danny Echeverria to fight off a pitch inside to drive in the Marlins, the only run of the game. The Phillies were to get their run. Utley doubled, went to third on an error, and came in to score on a wild pitch. That was all the scoring. Both pitchers were absolutely tremendous. Cole Hamels in his 7 innings had 6 strikeouts, just 1 walk, 7 innings for Henderson Alvarez, who hadn't started a game since September 1st. Now the bullpen takes over, and this is a hard thrower, Ken Giles. It was Ken Giles along with Diekman and Papelbon, who were a part of that no-hitter that Hamels started that game against Atlanta a couple of weeks ago.
Phillies bullpen, for all the woes that Philadelphia has had this year, the Phillies bullpen has kind of come together and had a nice second half run. Since early August, the lowest ERA in the majors. And you're right, Tommy, Giles has been a big part of that.
Well, he certainly gives you a different look than what the hitters have seen from Hamels, because Giles can get it up there mid to upper 90s with pretty good slider too. He's the guy that just about every team has in their bullpen, 8th inning guy, that he's their closer in waiting.
Ozuna fouls it back. If you could take all of his last appearances and marry them together, he's retired each of the last 20 hitters he's faced. So he's what, 6 2/3 into a perfect game.
Wow.
And that's one of the reasons why. Nasty stuff like that.
Yeah, there's the nastiness of that slider. Talking to some of the Philly coaches, they were saying in spring training he didn't get a big look. They wanted him to start the year in the minor leagues, but they had various injuries, guys that didn't have success out of the bullpen, and Giles got an opportunity, and boy, he's taking charge.
Mike Dunn in Miami's pen. I know it's easy to second guess. I think a lot of people expected Jonathan Papelbon to be moved before the trading deadline. Still a capable closer in what is usually an area teams have need. Papelbon does have another year on his contract with a possible vesting option for 2016.
I mean, Giles right now is making it look easy.
MLB.TV. What a great invention this is. It streams live Major League Baseball, and it includes an At-Bat 14 subscription. Every out-of-market game live on over 400 devices. Look, on my iPad,
you have the At-Bat. Yeah,
in that photo, and you do too. You have the scoreboard.
I have the scoreboard. You have the other app. You're looking at pitch speed.
And yet we didn't get a dime of that.
Nothing.
Commercial.
Nada.
But we enjoy the service.
The service is in the mail.
That's right. So Giles now, I mean, we open the inning with the incredible run that he's on. He's retired each of the last 22 hitters he's faced. 12 of those 22 he struck out. Saltalamacchia pulls a ground ball. Utley has it. That's amazing. 23 consecutive hitters retired for Ken Giles. 1-1. Still in the 8th. Around Major League Baseball, former teammates, opponents, guys like Ricky Nolasco, Jimmy Rollins. Tommy, you talked to Rollins today here. Bryce Harper and his former teammate Jose Reyes. And if you'd like to join along, hashtag your tweet, your Instagram, or on Facebook, Get Well Giancarlo. You can post images, messages of support. You can view the posts at marlins.com/GetWellGiancarlo. Mike Dunn in. So the bullpens will battle it out here in a 1-1 game.
Well, Mike Dunn last night came in the 8th inning and struck out the side. I think I remember commenting at the time a few things I don't remember about last night, but I remember commenting he had a terrific slider, and when the slider's working for Mike Dunn, he can be that dominating.
Dunn arrives in the 2-3-4 spot in the Phillies order here in the 8th. Cody Ashe, Chase Utley, then Ryan Howard. A breaking ball for a strike.
Yeah, and there it is. And he's going to need it with the left-handers he's going to see here in this inning. Boy, Henderson Alvarez lowers his earned run average. Alvarez earned run average now at 2.81.
Sweeping breaking ball and a strikeout. Down goes Ashe.
Well, again, that good slider. Expand when you get the count 0-2. That's exactly what Mike Dunn did.
Now Utley. He can't be the only player in baseball that has Led Zeppelin as a walk-up song.
I wouldn't think so. I would think there might be a few closers. Got to get the lead out to come out of the bullpen. Hey, by the way, I'm just looking back at Mike Dunn's last 3 appearances. So far, he's retired the last 5 hitters he's faced by strikeouts.
So we've got 2 hot relievers in this game.
Then just goes with that 95-mile-an-hour heater. There, the heat, a good slider. Has 2 strikes on Utley. See if he tries to do the same thing that he did to Ashe, expand and go a little bit off the plate.
Utley has 2 of the Phillies' 7 hits.
He tried. Utley said, "Not this time."
Missed away. Count full now. The Pirates keep holding the Cubs off every time the Cubs get a run. It's 4-3 Pittsburgh in the bottom of the 6th. Milwaukee has taken a 2-1 lead over Cincinnati in the 5th. Atlanta a 1-0 lead in Texas in the 5th. And Dunn misses. Utley's aboard. Palmetto 57 Volkswagen leaderboard. Last 10 years, home run leaders: Pujols, Dunn, Miggy, Poppy, and Howard. And of course, Howard missed a pretty good amount of time.
That's some big boppers on that list. 4 times Ryan Howard has had 45 home runs or more.
Infield shifted over.
Albert Pujols is still going strong. He's turned things around. Of course, we saw him in Anaheim. He's 6, 7, 8 RBIs away from another 100 RBI season.
And the Angels have the best record in baseball. 91 wins going into play tonight. They're 91 and 55.
They actually have a chance to win 100 games.
Yes, they do. They've won 8 straight. A.J. Ramos. Dunn thought it was a strike. You can see by his body language. Joe West didn't agree.
And after, remember, getting ahead 1-2 to Utley, and that was a strike. 1-2 to Utley. He lost him. Utley drew the walk. And now it's 3-0 to Ryan Howard. Look out. He probably has the green light.
.97 miles an hour. And he gets a strike. And it's in. Howard walks. Utley now to second. And we'll see if Mike Redmond goes to the bullpen, if it's A.J. Ramos who gets Marlon Byrd.
Yeah, unfortunately for Mike Dunn and for Mike Redmond as well, he had the perfect situation with 3 left-handers who you knew Ryan Sandberg most likely wasn't going to pinch hit for. He had Ashe, Utley, and Howard. Mike Dunn got Ashe, but then walked Utley and Howard, and that forces Mike Redmond to make a move.
And so A.J. Ramos comes out of the Marlins bullpen after a pair of walks. Redmond may wait till Joe West gets out there before he makes the call. Now he makes it. So Dunn exits. Kendo Toyota called to the bullpen. He's had a terrific year. He certainly had a rough night last night. His closest friend on the team, and they are inseparable, Giancarlo Stanton. And for Ramos and the rest of the bullpen guys, they had to watch that whole scene from the bullpen. Ramos said once he saw it happen in real time, they all kind of crowded around a television set down the TV screen down in the pen. Tony Gwynn Jr. will run. He's at first. Big spot here. You've got Bird with Dominic Brown behind him. One out, Ramos in. Breaking ball, ground ball, Etch in the hole, one there, the turn, two there. Big double play. Solano was wiped out at second, and with one pitch, Ramos ends the eighth. How about that? Echeverria to Solano to Baker to the ninth. Marlins and Phillies, opener of a three-game weekend series after such an emotional gut punch of a night for the Fish last night in Milwaukee. Maikel Franco is at first base. He takes over. Jonathan Papelbon arrives on the scene. Phillies go with their closer in a tie game in the ninth.
They've seen Papelbon, who's actually having a very, very good year. Look at that, 36 out of 39. Opponents hitting 181. Fastballs, some sliders, and that pretty good splitter from Jonathan Papelbon, who's closed games for a while.
Jordani Valdespin is going to hit for Ed Lucas. Lucas had a good night. He was 2 for 3 against the lefty Cole Hamels. Ben Giles was dominant in his inning in the 8th. And the Phillies look like they have themselves a really good future closer in Giles. They have a really good closer currently in Papelbon.
322 career saves. Jonathan Papelbon.
And a strike to Valdespin. Echeverria. And then the pitcher spot. It is a double switch. Franco is in the 9 spot. Valdespin quickly behind the count, 0-2.
Valdespin a pinch hit last night. Infield base hit.
Valdespin to center field. It tails away from Revere, but he makes the adjustment and makes the catch.
Boy, well hit too by Jordani Valdespin.
So Echeverria comes up. Garrett Jones has emerged on deck. Well pitched game from the very start from Cole Hamels and Henderson Alvarez. Both went 7 innings. Hamels 9 hits and a run. Alvarez 7 hits and a run. Echeverria a couple hits tonight. A 2-for-3 night and a .280 average now. He fouls it back to the screen.
Boy, it's just been nice to see Etch hover in that 275 to 280 area for quite a while. And a big base hit in the 6th inning to drive in the Marlins' only run.
Oh, 0-2. Papelbon's 3rd year as a Philly. Jacksonville native, Bishop Kenny High School, and then on to Mississippi State. And a long run as a very good closer, first with the Red Sox, a World Championship. He was dominant in the 2007 postseason. 7 appearances, 11 innings, did not give up a run. Count 2-2.
Guys talk about how Papelbon sets himself. Once he gets the side, he kind of tucks that glove along the side. Right about there.
And he got Echeverria. Philly bullpen is living up to all of the headlines.
Look at this breaking ball with 2 strikes. Boy, perfect. Right on the corner.
Garrett Jones now. Jones hitting with 2 outs and nobody on. And a high pop-up. Ruiz makes the catch. Papelbon a scoreless night. Can the Marlins answer? 1-1. preparing the next fan photo here in Philly. Marlins and Phillies. Pitching has been terrific in this one. The starters and the bullpen. Jordany Valdespin, who pinch hit for Ed Lucas, will just stay in right. Lucas had a 2-for-3 night in right field, and Chris Hatcher is into the game.
Well, you have these situations, and when you're on the road, they're even tougher because no room for error when you come out of the bullpen in a tie game.
Dominic Brown, Carlos Ruiz, and Freddie Galvis are scheduled. Couple singles for Brown tonight. Right center field, Valdespin at the track. He makes the catch. Right in front of the Atlanta Braves and the Texas Rangers on the out-of-town scoreboard.
A little over 27,000 here tonight. Most of them got out of their seats, but not quite enough, and Valdespin gets there in time.
Here's Carlos Ruiz. Two to the Phillies catcher. One-two misses away. About 2 weeks ago showed you the video of Chris Hatcher's walk-off championship winner with the Jacksonville Suns. And the Suns, it sounds like tonight, are on the verge of another championship.
Well, it'll be just tremendous for Andy Barquette, manager. So they're getting close.
That is right down Broad. 2 outs.
Yeah, it's not Broadway here. It's Broad Street.
That's right. I didn't finish it.
Well, for our fans not familiar with the Philadelphia area.
And if you want a little more adventurous trek, is it South Street? That's usually an interesting stroll.
And you can't go wrong at the all-night dining at the South Street Diner.
Galvis hitting just 129 on the season. Right down the middle. Joe West rings up Freddie Galvis. The Fish and the Phils 1-1 into the 10th. Back to the top of the order. Christian Yelich leads it off. baseball all season long. Brought to you by Jack Link's Beef Jerky, official sponsor of Extra Innings. The night after the awful night in Milwaukee, the Marlins and the Phillies are tied 1-1 in the 10th. Giancarlo Stanton tweeting today, the amount of support I've received from you guys has been tremendous and heartfelt. I'm much better today and deeply appreciate your prayers. And certainly on the minds of his teammates as they took the field tonight against the Phillies. They ran into Cole Hamels and a really hot bullpen. If you'd like to send get well wishes, hashtag get well Giancarlo to your message on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook. You can view the post at marlins.com/getwellgiancarlo. Jake Diekman has been part of this Philly pen, and he whistles in a strike to Christian Yelich with Solano and McGee and Ozuna hoping to get swings.
Well, the Marlins tonight seeing the entire cast of that no-hitter back on September 1st in Atlanta. Hamels went 6 innings, then Diekman, then Giles, then Papelbon. We've seen them in a little different order, but we've seen that entire cast.
Elevates, and he strikes out Yelich. That's the first out of the 10th. Here comes Solano. Pirates continue to lead the Cubs 6-3. Milwaukee continues to lead the Reds 2-1. That's 7th inning. That Pirate game also a 7th inning score. And in the bottom of the 6th, Atlanta on the road leads the Rangers 1-0. Mets 4-3 lead over the Nationals. That's top 8. Sounds like fireworks in the area. There's loud booms.
You know, there have been times, I know, when we've been here on Friday nights, headed back down toward the hotel, we've seen some fireworks. Maybe they're getting an early start.
Or this game is getting later. That one down low to Solano. It's 2-1. Solano takes out, trying to get base runners ahead of McGee and Ozuna. Up the middle, Galvis streaks and has it and gets the out.
Galvis has struggled certainly with his batting average, but he can cover a little ground. It's short.
He's always had that reputation of being not only a very good defensive player, but a very versatile guy who could play all 3 infield spots: short, second, and third. Now McGee.
Between Hamels in his 7th inning and then the bullpen, 11 straight Marlins have been retired.
Steve Cishek watching. 1-1 to McGee. Casey's a sharp ground ball. Utley sliding pickup, and he got him. with some help from Franco. Utley gets McGee. And the Marlins down in order in the 10th. Still some life left in those legs. Chase Utley with a nice play. Honda dealers and sfhondadealers.com. By Hialeah Park Casino. Come out to Hialeah Park's Havana Cafe every Sunday for brunch and live music from noon to 3. $13.95 a person. Must be over 21 to dine. By Kaiser University. Kaiser University now offers degrees in sports management. Learn more at kaiseruniversity.edu. And by Florida Power and Light. Chris Hatcher now. Michael Franco. He's out of the Dominican Republic.
Yeah, pretty solid year in AAA this year for Franco. He's got some power. Hit 16 home runs.
Been in the Phillies system since 2010. And he just turned 22. So a youngster. High chopper, Echeverria. Jump throw. Wow, he got him. Etch was trying to figure out how to get it to first while he was waiting for the ball to come down.
And that's a situation, too. You're not quite sure of the speed of the runner. And Franco is saying they don't make that play in Lehigh Valley. That's nice. He had a couple of leaps. He had to leap up a little bit to catch it. There's the leap. Now he leaps up again. Got something on it to get Franco by, wow, a couple of steps.
Second inning for Chris Hatcher. And Ben Revere makes a U-turn. Mike Redmond going to go to the bullpen. Dan Jennings. You got Revere and then Ashe due up with Utley after that. Nice job by Hatcher tonight. Kendall Toyota called to the pen. Marlins and Phillies. Dan Jennings, second appearance by Jennings on the show. He was nice enough to come by and visit with us in the third inning. Marlins general manager Dan Jennings came by, and in talking to the general manager Dan Jennings, he says that over the last few years, he and the left-handed pitcher Dan Jennings have been getting each other's mail, getting packages. It's kind of a routine where if something shows up and it just doesn't look like it's for you, but it's got your name on it, then either this Dan Jennings will take it up to the offices to the other Dan Jennings, or Big DJ will come down to the clubhouse and say, hey, I think this is for you.
Well, the left-handed pitching Dan Jennings just made a good pitch to start off Ben Revere. Good slider for strike one.
We saw Revere on a swing earlier in the game tweak something, and he limped noticeably when he ran the bases that inning. And then later in the game, going after a ball, Ozuna's ball in left center, limped back to his spot in center field.
Well, we talked about the Marlins going hitless for a few innings. The Phillies have done the same thing. The last time the Phillies had a base hit was in that sixth inning when they scored. They had the double by Utley, a single by Dominic Brown. Of course, the run scored on a wild pitch.
That was close. Full count, 3-2. Foxtrot says strike.
It's a tough one. And the tough part, you saw Joe West right there. He set up inside, but he saw Saltalamacchia set up outside. I think it crossed him up.
Some good news out of Milwaukee for a change. The Reds have tied the game against the Brewers 2-2. That's top 7. Pirates still 6-3 over the Cubs in the 8th. And some good news down in Arlington, where there's a ballpark. Atlanta 1-1 now with the Rangers. Top 7.
Cardinals have a nice lead in their ball game against the Rockies. Cardinals leading 4-1 behind Adam Wainwright.
Cardinals
continues to put together solid years.
And Wainwright and the Cardinals have a 2.5 game lead in the division, ahead of Pittsburgh. The Mets have gone to the 9th at home with a 4-3 lead over the Nationals. Fly ball into the seats.
We talked earlier about that doubleheader in Baltimore. The Orioles swept the doubleheader against the Yankees, 2-1 in the first game in 11 innings, and a 5-0 shutout in game 2.
Into center field. That's a base hit. Well, remember that pitch that caught the plate that would have been strike 3. It extended the at bat, and Revere, who has terrific speed, is aboard. And so incumbent now on Jennings to keep Revere close and also deal with Ashe.
Yeah, that always is one of those situations you have to be careful. You don't want to concern yourself so much with Revere that you make a mistake to the hitter. Actually, Revere on that pitch to the plate was moving back toward first base,
which is a good sign in that he's having trouble, at least initially, with Jennings' motion. So Tlamaki got enough of that to kill it right by his feet. You saw that list, D. Gordon and Billy Hamilton bringing speed back. Both those guys look like they're headed into the 60s in terms of stolen bases this year. I think some thought that Billy Hamilton, if he played as much as he has played, would be higher than that this year.
Yeah, I think everybody was giving him the stolen base title before the season started. He's learning. He's been caught a lot.
A swing and a miss. It's 1-2. Marlins live whenever the Phillies and the Marlins have settled it. Henderson Alvarez actually looked better than okay. He looked great.
Yeah, he was terrific. No walks.
But the okay is for his physical condition, which was in question coming into this start, having left his last start back on September 1.
What more can you ask? He went 7 innings, gave up 1 run, no walks, and got a base hit.
Two and 2. Revere a little more of an aggressive lead now. Jennings to the plate. To right. It's deep. It's gone. It's over. And the Phillies walk off with game 1.
Well, Cody Ashe was responsible for a really nice play early in the game that cut down a possible run for the Marlins. Had himself a big night, doubled in the first inning, and a game winner right there.
The Phillies walk off and beat the Marlins 3-1.